Well, hello and welcome and hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Un Poco Mas, the show where we give you just a little bit more. There has been rampant speculation that Danny Deals is afraid to come on YouTurd and make a video because SoFi is down and all my predictions are wrong and penny stock I was invested in went bankrupt. And I'm like, children, I don't care. I've been wrong and seen dozens and dozens of penny stocks I've owned go bankrupt. It's just part of the game, guys. Even if you're doing really well in penny stocks, way more than half you're going to lose money, and then you're looking for home runs. That's kind of the nature of penny stocks. One of my favorite youturders is a guy named Chris Norland, who is just not the flashiest guy on YouTube, but definitely one of the most intelligent and one of the most honest. And he talks a lot about why you shouldn't buy penny stocks. I actually agree with him that you should never ever buy penny stocks, but I am not going to color my hair and pretend quit YouTube like, say, Kevin or one of these other guys, or, say I say Tattooed Chef is going to be the next Tesla, and then, the company ends up going bankrupt. Things happen, guys. Even smart people are wrong sometimes. And imagine me. I'm wrong a lot. But anyway, guys, that's neither here nor there. It's Thursday. We are talking SoFi. It's Un Poco Mas. The ticker symbol is SOFI. Would like to thank you all for joining me. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you turds. Go ahead and put myself down in the corner where I belong. Okay, guys, there is just max pain every single day is 750 all the way through the ER. Next 3 Fridays, max pain's looking at 750. We'll go over that. Today, guys, anemic volume, very low volume, 28 million shares traded. The algo was working very, very hard. You do see some variance. You do see some decent-sized orders coming in. Wouldn't be surprised at all if ARK bought, some other smaller institutions bought. You see filings coming in. Options sentiment, longer term, if you get past these next 3 weeks, say going out into the leaps territory, into 2025, extremely positive. In fact, an article just came out that was talking about how it's a great call option buying opportunity with SoFi. You have Analysts coming out, Deutsche Bank reiterating at 12. You have Citibank basically coming out and making the case for SoFi. And, somebody on my comments was speculating, well, Citibank's going to partner with Galileo. Perhaps they could be trying to pump the stock. I don't really think so because, using Galileo for technology, I don't really think that has any interest in terms of the same people who make those decisions really pumping the stock for the traders. Of course, everything could be interconnected. I don't really see that. I just see Ashwin from Citibank as a really, really good analyst, and I like that 44% upside. And if you read his note, what they talked about is he updated his models and he carefully analyzed the senior secured note deal. And he basically talks about why you're going to see upside in Q1. And he has obviously 44% upside on the stock. This was an article a couple days ago, just going over it and Seeking Alpha. The reason I emphasize this analyst, and I tend to ignore a lot of analysts, is because he's very good. Mark DeVries is very good. Bank of America is short SoFi, at least short long. These hold recommendations, I guess basically if they don't put a price target, they're basically saying, they agree with the current price target. But the title of this video, everybody serious has huge upside on SoFi. I mean, Morningstar just lowered their fair value, I believe, from 14 to 13, but that still represents like 60% upside on the stock. You see Deutsche Bank, he has a hold on the stock, but 57% upside to his target price. That really doesn't make a lot of sense. If you have a stock at $7.60 and you think the stock is worth $12 as a value, or even in 1 year, why would you have the stock as a hold? It doesn't really make any sense. You have almost 60% upside on the stock, but you're a hold. KBW, again, we went over this with this fake upgrade. Basically, KBW's message is, hey, I'm upgrading, but don't buy. Don't buy because the stock's already overvalued, but I'm upgrading. But the interesting thing with Ashwin's note was that he updated his models specifically. They're going through number by number and looking at how changes are going to affect the company. Novel concept, right? Like if you're the Chia Pet, doesn't matter what change. You can actually update your EPS predictions to the upside and you still stay at $3 no matter what. If you're the bologna sandwich, you're at $4 no matter what. It doesn't matter how well SoFi's doing. It doesn't matter what management says. It doesn't matter that management's coming out and saying we're going to make a profit not only this quarter, but every quarter henceforth. Guys, it's un poco mas. Thank you for joining me. It is Danny Deals for Stock Karen. We have Not a Lurker, Jay Money producing the show. Jay Money with an impressive appearance last night with Tevis and Roy. Boy, Jay Money's going Hollywood. And all these other finance youturders are poaching my talent. I've been developing Jay Money for decades. When I first met him, he had a beautiful head of hair, giant afro. It was the 70s. We were swinging, we were dancing, it was great. And then I nurture this guy, his talent. He's finally up just to where he's one of the best U-turd producers in the industry. Tevis comes in with all his money and his Canadian charms, and he swoops down. He says, if you get away from Danny Deals, that fat turd, I'm going to give you airtime, Not a Lurker. But credit to Not a Lurker, credit to Jay Money. He still slums it down here at Poco Mas, still gives us his time. We really appreciate that. Guys, sorry to get too far afield. Let's see who's here. Welcome and hello to Emilio. Emilio was here first. Patman was here. Katie Wentworth. Not a Lurker, of course. We just talked about, we've got Larmo, Whoop Whoop in the house, everything SoFi, Bobby Joe is here. We got Cum Rocket here, Danny Deals. We got White Feather, we got Tobias, White Feather RC. How's it going, sir? We have Tobias. We have unsubbed and resubbed BC. Thank you so much for that, BZ. We have 19 insiders bought much higher than 2 insiders bought 10,000 shares at 809 after earnings. We'll also pay 8 cents. Plug in Michael Anthony loves GTN if you ever want to check that out. Rain again. It's all there is. Un poco mas. Lisa's here. BZ is here. Who else we got? Heirloom Cedar, of course. Air Force in the house. We got everything SoFi. Bobby Joe, we already talked to you. Bobby Joe, Danny is the type of guy to bet no pass playing craps. Absolutely not. I'm not a contrarian bettor at the craps table. I like to have fun with everybody, guys. It's a lot more fun, when people are winning together. I am not one of these people. It's so funny. Some people follow me around and they're like, you're such an idiot. You were wrong about this stock. Okay, I'm wrong. It happens all the time, guys. I'm wrong at least every day, multiple times a day. So I don't know, maybe it's you get a little bit older. You've done this for quite a few decades. The bad beats just don't bother you as much. And I'm a gambler at heart. I kind of thrive on bad beats. I kind of thrive on the pain. Most gamblers know what I'm talking about. So it's not that big a deal. But I just wanted to say the reason I haven't been here is because this is my very busiest time of the year, tax time. My clients are just all over me, just endless phone meetings, endless document production, endless stuff people are losing. So that's what it is, guys. I have construction projects going on in numerous states, building student housing for the future generations. So there's just a lot going on. It's not because I'm wrong about a stock or a stock goes bankrupt. I'll take my lumps and I'll just happily admit I was wrong, and it happens. And, you just have to learn from it and move on. But I'm definitely not going to, color my hair and pretend quit YouTube. I just, I get busy. I don't come on, and I have some time. I appreciate coming on with you guys. And I thank you guys for watching. Today was just a canceled meeting that, happened to jump on. And luckily, like I said, Not a Lurker was able to interrupt his busy schedule and get on with us. Shout out to Steve. Why not? BZ, we're pumping BZ's gas. He's on his way to a ski trip with his family. Doesn't matter that we can solve equations on the chalkboard. Doesn't matter because we're just poor orphans. And Robin Williams isn't going to be here to save us every single time, guys. But here's what I want to talk about. What do we expect going into earnings? Frankly, I expect them to hold the stock down. Why am I feeling good? Because we keep challenging this trend line. And we keep getting rejected. Why is that good, I would say? Well, because we're not challenging this bottom trend line, which flipped from resistance to support. I think this wedge is tightening. If you look at these distances, guys, here you're at 1028 off of the trend line. You're $3 on this fall. On this one, you're at 916. and you're coming down to approximately 758. So you go from $3, $1.50. The distance down is cut in half. This one again, I just look at this. The spring is coiled. It's getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And if the ER is what I think it is, and if you look at what Citibank's talking about, why this ER is going to be so good, and there's a couple things I think people are kind of missing, nobody's really talking about, that are just sort of foundational, kind of bread and butter things. What about the layoffs, guys? What about those Q4 layoffs? Laid off, good amount of highly paid employees. That's going to be a big savings in Q1. So I think that's a positive. You have this interest dividend savings from the senior secured note deal, $40 to $60 million. I don't know if that applies. I don't know if that's going to have much effect in Q1, but I think it will definitely have an effect starting in Q2 and throughout the rest of the year. And guys, the key to how a stock behaves after an ER is guidance. Guidance. I think one of the reasons it's quite easy for them to pump and dump or just dump SoFi quite often after the ER is that, Noto comes out and LaPointe comes out and they give a little bit of weak guidance. It's not because the company's weak. It's not because they're actually expecting that. It's just because they're sandbagging and they want to do 4, beat and raises every single year. And if you're going to do that, you have to start pretty low. It's just the nature of sandbagging. It's a choice they make. I wish they would try to be a little bit more accurate and not worry so much about, a miss. But the problem is in this market, everything is so overreactive. Like, anything, whether it's, a beat or a miss, it's just the market completely overreacts. So if SoFi were to miss by 1 cent or the defaults were to go up and they were to lose money by 1 cent or something, the market's just going to freak out and cut the stock in half. But as far as the chart goes, I think it looks really excellent. I think this green line is very clearly flipped right here end of November and switched from resistance to support. It's been support ever since. It's never broken back down below this line. We've tried, like I said, 3 times to break through this line. It was 3 times here after this pump and dump, 3 times trying to break through, and then it broke through on the 4th try. So we've had 3 tries. And then if you look over here, guys, these upward slopes are extremely steep, going up very, very steep. And then the one it finally breaks out, it's more of a gradual path up. So you see, this is a pump. This is a gradual path up followed by this ridiculous gap down sell-off. And then this is a very gradual path up, moving down, consolidating sideways. Guys, I think Noto has been planning to set up the shorts for a long time. Is it going to be this quarter? I don't know. One of these quarters, he's going to turn in a huge beat, and he's just going to absolutely massacre these shorts. Is it going to be this time? I have no idea. Okay, Citibank resumes coverage. He's basically taking into account Ashwin Shivvekar, sorry I pronounced that wrong, Ashwin, takes into account the lender's recent financial actions that are expected to save $40 to $60 million. SoFi, basically, you guys all know this, exchanged $600 million of the 0% 2026 for 1.25% 2029. They're going to save that $40 to $60 million. Our fundamental bullish view on SoFi remains unchanged, especially as intended business diversification comes into focus. Its ability to continue to attract deposits continues to prove itself out, and investors focus on forward profitability. Guys, this is real. This is real stuff. This isn't FUD. This isn't, SoFi's going to have to raise money based on some boilerplate throwaway line at the end of the ER. This isn't some, bologna sandwich with extra mayo with a big 5 head and an empty skull. Just saying 4 no matter what, reiterating 3, 4, 5, 6 times a quarter. This isn't, the Chia Pet coming out and reiterating, 4 times within a month his, downgrades and fake bullshit. This is real stuff, guys. He updated his models and he expects SoFi to make more money, and therefore he's a buy on the stock. The Citi analyst expects SoFi to continue tightening personal loan underwriting until delinquency rates improve, possibly in H2 2024. He estimates 6% origination growth in 2025. He sees student loan financing origination ticking up late this year as a 12-month on-ramp that the government implemented when restarting student loan payments expires. His models estimate for end-of-period loan balance calculate growth of 9% both 2024 and 2025, assuming relatively stable payment rates rates, and higher loan sales activity. We increase our net interest margin expectations for the next 2 years as we anticipate the company will continue to replace higher cost funding with lower cost deposits. That's really the key, guys. SoFi had so much foresight. They were smarter than everybody else. They had this idea 6 years ago. Noto pitched this thing to the board when they were hiring him. They needed this bank charter. The bank charter is key. If you take the two key pieces, it's the bank charter and it's Galileo. Those two things represent brilliance. They represent synergy. They represent foresight. All these other, like Hood is talking about banking. Hood is talking about issuing credit cards. They can't do any of that. They have to do it through a third party. And if their interest, if they were going to do loans or something, they would be paying a couple of points higher than SoFi. They can't compete. Their business model is dog shit. That's why they don't make any money. That's why their desperate big announcement is a gold-plated credit card that's going to lose them a fortune. Yeah, it's great for their investors if they're just giving away money. Or, I mean, great for their members if they're just giving away money, but it's horrible for investors. It doesn't make any sense. Giving members these great features and attracting growth while hemorrhaging money is not a business model. SoFi went the other way. SoFi, Noto, LaPointe, brilliant. Balancing guns and butter masterfully. Increasing EBITDA now to the point they're actually making a net profit while growing rapidly. 25%, 30%. Let's see what it is. So I really don't expect this thing to run up much over max pain, but I would highly encourage you guys to just read this note from Citi. Very intelligent stuff. Tip ranks, again, Mark DeVries, Deutsche Bank, 12. These guys, you see anybody who's serious. Anybody who seriously analyzes stock has a ton of upside. Maybe with the exception of Kevin Barker. He's a serious analyst. He asks good questions. He has good modeling, and he's at $8. There's still 5% upside. And he is what I would consider a credible bear. Very, very bearish on the stock. Very skeptical, but he still has 5% upside on the stock. I think because he's honest. He's not a hack who's just going to come out and say $3 every quarter. You see these guys, KBW, Morgan Fudley. What happened to that? Oh yeah, Dominic Gabriel. If we're going to see another downgrade to push Deutsche Bank and Citibank and Needham down further, I expect it to come from this turd at Oppenheimer. This little weasel, he thinks it's his job. He's even said so. He's like, well, the price action is just getting a little too high. Just trying to pump the brakes. Just want to pump the brakes. Like his job as an analyst is not to provide information and analysis. His job is to slow down the rally. He came out and said this. It's just like ridiculous. This shiny, pasty turd. Anyway, guys, you guys could check out the, max pain for yourself. Run these out over the next 3 weeks. It just does not look good. You can see what's going to happen this week. They opened up, tons of volume at 8, tons of volume at 750. All the puts are at 750. What do you think's going to happen? You think they're going to let this thing run on 27 million shares traded? It's an absolute joke. Let's see what's going on in terms of Ortex. You basically have, the short interest. They're trying to say, okay, this has come way down. This kind of is what I'm talking about with if they manipulate the starting line, then if they pump it 20%, it doesn't matter. Same thing with the short interest. They're like, short interest is down. This is still near a record high, guys. 17% of the free float. You have 167 million almost 200 million shares on loan, and short interest 167 million. So that is not a small short. It's a very, very significant short. Today was basically flat, returning 340,000 shares. Yesterday looks like they returned, basically it was flat, almost flat until overnight, and then they returned another 10 million overnight for 13 million. So remember, guys, just a couple of weeks ago, 290 million shares on loan, now down under 200 million. So it's just sort of kind of a fugazi because, yes, they're not going into the ER with 20+% short, but they're going in with 15% plus short if they don't cover in mass. And previous ERs, when they're running pump and dumps, you're talking about 13%, 12%, 8% short interest. So 17% is, very, very significant. So you're talking about insider ownership of the SoFi stock still officially trying to break through 40%. I think it's through 40%. If you look at these filings, 411, almost all of these are increasing percentages. They're not huge buys; these are smaller companies, but still, probably 3 out of 4 of these filings you're seeing are as basically bullish. If you take a look at what Fintel is showing as far as short interest, they're still 17.29. So just a little bit higher than Ortex. And then if you look at the short volume ratio yesterday, 51%. It's basically been right around this 50% level for quite some time. If you remember going sort of all the way back here, drops down lower. This is when the stock shot up. And then back before that, of course, it was way up in the 60s and 70s. So the shorts are certainly don't seem super excited about this ER. And then if you look at the options sentiment, today you had 8 orders totaling 360K, 83% positive. And then for the week, you have 49 orders, 56% positive. You see these calls opening up for January 2025. You see buying a lot of the $15 calls, $10 calls. So certainly some smart money. That's 1,000 contracts, 1,000 contracts. So certainly smart money is either hedging. They're hedging. I don't really see that as a hedge, though. I think that's somewhat bullish. I think some of these institutional buyers of the senior secured note that have to push it up to 12 to 14, they might say, yeah, what the hell? Why don't we just push it up to 20 and see what happens? But options flow, I think, while max pain is 750 the next 3 weeks, options flow remains extremely bullish, I believe, over the long term. And we see they're not trying to manipulate leaps. They're not trying to kill leaps, a year or two in advance. They're trying to kill the dumb call options. Like I said, I was talking to somebody who said he got out Monday with a 50% profit. And I was like, that's what I've been telling you guys over and over and over. If you're going to buy those short-term calls, sell that Monday pop. You got 50% profit in your pocket. Take it. That's a Landau roof and wire wheels, or whatever Bigger and McCracken said. Hello and welcome, guys. Welcome and hello. It is Poco, Moss. Alberto Bertie Aviles is here. Like and subscribe, or as a moderator, I'm blocking you all. Absolutely, Alberto. Not a lurker gave you the wrench. Or is that just an emoji? We gotta give Alberto a wrench. He's a gamer. We like Alberto here. He's making tons of money on options, and he still takes the time to come down and talk with us, lowly youturders. $10 as liquidity volatility options on it. Why sit and wait over $8? Then all right. Yeah, guys, this week I was writing some covered calls finally, but I was writing them out at 9. I'm very, very little, premium, but I don't want to have my shares called away. And then you guys, well, they won't be called away. You can roll. I have not had time to sort of watch the market, watch my options, watch my stocks every day, all day. It's just one of those extremely busy weeks, but definitely was very comfortable writing cover calls at 9. Didn't think there was any possible chance, looking at the max pain, was going to push up anywhere near that. Of course, some of you guys who are writing at 8 got a little bit nervous as the stock, I think, pushed up closer 790 or something. Everybody writing those 8s was getting a little bit nervous, but the market makers came in and bailed you guys out. Alberto is not a wrench. You're just happy to see Danny. Oh, is that a wrench in your pocket? Or are you just happy to see me? Clank. Give me the wrench. I won't hit anybody. Dayrolls here. Thanks, Dayroll. $9. What the fuck is that? I know, Air Force. I know it's not aggressive. It's not gutsy, but it's free money, guys. I have a ton of shares. I can write a lot of contracts. So it adds up, and selling quite a bit out of the money. It might be kind of a wuss strategy, but that's okay. I don't like to really write, covered calls too near the ERs at all. And just this massive volatility, haven't had time to watch it. I'm not a heavy options guy like some of you guys are. I love to write covered calls when I feel that the, stock is going to move sideways, but I felt like 8 was a definite possibility if, basically, if you got good news on that CPI, which I know nobody was expecting, the stock would have shot up, I think, well over 8. So it's just one of those things where I thought inflation was going to be hot, but I just wasn't super confident. It was like 60-40. So definitely didn't want it to flip the other way and just, get burned. But anyway, guys, Dominic Hallbach is here. Hola, Dominic. Hola, ¿qué tal? Not a lurker anymore. Proofreading wrench yourself. BZ not happy with some of the moderation, but I defer to not a lurker on that. You're going to have to go through him. Speaking facts, wheel this and all his stocks. Guys, Poco Moss. We're talking about the Sofi stock. Basically, that's all I had. Just wanted to say hello. I want to give you guys an update. Wanted to let you guys know that I still have my same dishwater blonde and gray hair that I've always had. It's not going pink. It's not going purple. You know, sometimes you're wrong, guys. That's just part of life, and part of being an adult is just admitting, hey, you're wrong. I made a bad judgment. I saw certain evidence. My confirmation bias took over. I was talking to some doctors, some expert in the field who love this stuff. But the problem is, doctors might love the drug or the science that you're talking about, but they don't know anything about the business. They don't know anything about the cash flow. They don't know anything about anything. So, you know, there's two sides to the coin. It's the secret sauce of the company, but then financially, what has management done? If they've already sunk the company, it's going to be very, very hard to dig your way out of it. And you need something very, very special for a buyer to come into a stock and want to pay off a bunch of debt and then go through a slow ramp on some penny stock drugs. So it's just one of those things. You are playing the lottery. You're trying to hit a home run, and most of the time you're going to lose. So you have to expect that, and you just can't cry about it. You just have to say, you know, I was wrong. Dust yourself off, try to learn from your mistakes. And I've been doing this a long time, guys. I try to make less and less mistakes, and I'm always going to be honest about it. It's like, you know, it's just stupid. It's like, how do you know somebody's lying on YouTube? It's like they always say they're right. They always guess right. They always make the perfect call with their options. That ain't me, guys. I'm just a normal person. You know, I've done well in the markets over decades, but you know, some years I have bad years. Certainly some months, certainly some quarters have really bad years. But that's just the way it is. Not a lurker. J Money seems to is going to authorize Alberto Bertiaveles getting a wrench. We can do that. I have to shoot on over to my, I think YouTurd. I don't know how to do that. I can't do it on StreamYard because I only have one slot there, and that's already occupied by J Money. So we are going to go ahead and shoot on over to YouTurd as soon as we're done here and make Alberto a moderator. So richly deserved by his many contributions, taunting us all with his huge options profit and his opulent vacations that the rest of us mortals can only dream of. But guys, I don't know. I'm just not worried at all. You see, basically, the ER is only out here, guys. You only have... 11 more trading days to get these shorts, get their house in order, get set up for a pump and dump, get set up for a pump, get set up for a dump, whatever they want to set up. If the ER is good, here's what I'm expecting. If the ER is great, you're going to have probably that 20% pump and then a 5% retracement. If the ER is just good, you're going to have a 20% pump followed by a 30% crash. If the ER is a miss, the stock is going to get cut by at least 30% right from this level. Any miss, they're just going to have SoFi. They're just going to absolutely hammer SoFi. So another thing we could talk about, guys, is this golf deal that SoFi made. SoFi announces partnership with the number 4 world-ranked professional golfer, reigning U.S. Open champion Wyndham Clark. Why is this important? This guy, you know, he looks kind of goofy. Looks like some guy that would probably being arrested in cops at his cousin's wedding for, like, getting too drunk and, you know, I don't know, doing something silly, but just that smirk. But anyway, this guy's really up and coming. They probably didn't have to pay him too much. Why is SoFi going after the Yums? YUMM. Young, upwardly mobile members. That's who SoFi is going after. Okay? Who are they going after at these sports stadiums? NFL, NBA. These are people with disposable income. These are people with good jobs. These are people with advanced degrees. The golf crowd, even more so. If you go to golf tournaments, if you have time to sit there and watch golf on TV for 4 hours, you probably have a few dollars in the bank. You're probably not somebody who's late for your job at Walmart if you're headed out to Doral or, you know, Augusta or somewhere to take in a golf tournament. And this logo on his shirt, guys, this is one of the number 1 players. This guy, I think this is the first Masters he's going to play, but I think he just won the U.S. Open. So that's huge, guys. Everyone is going to be watching this guy at the Masters. The publicity for SoFi is going to be absolutely through the roof. And this piggybacks very nicely on that Tiger Woods, golf league that SoFi is a naming sponsor for. This guy's already committed to that. So you just have SoFi lining up these sports fans as members with money. It makes so much sense. How do you reach young people with disposable income and good education? You go to these high-end sports events because all these fans have money. These are the ideal SoFi members, YUMs, young, upwardly mobile members. Get them. We were talking about yaks last time, young, affluent, whatever it is. Sorry, haven't had a drink of water this whole time. SoFi Stadium. I believe that is actually unfiltered tap water. So people are asking, when is this going to let go? Is a great ER going to shake the shorts loose? Guys, the ER is not going to shake the shorts loose. It can certainly help. What's going to shake this thing loose is when institutions flip and go long. If you see Goldman getting out of their short position, you see Citadel, Jane Street exiting their short position, you see Bank of America getting out of that short long position going long. This is when it's going to flip. It's going to flip when the institutions want it to, and not a moment sooner. You know, returders just cannot get it together and force the price up. They're too inconsistent. They're too emotional. It just doesn't work. People are very worried now. Are we going to get any rate cuts? Some people are actually, I saw Lawrence Summers, who I believe is just a big asshole. He's coming out and saying next won't be a cut. It'll be another hike. I don't think that's going to happen at all. I think that would be far, far too shocking to the markets. I don't think, I think, Diamond Joe Biden would send over the goon squad, send over Hunter and the crack dealers and everybody else to go after Fed Jerome Powell and basically beat him with, sock filled with pennies if he tried to raise rates right before this election. It crashed the stock market. And basically Diamond Joe Biden, much like Mayor Quimby, would be totally screwed. But so I don't see a rate increase. Now, whether we see one cut, two cuts this year, I think it's less and less likely that we're going to see a cut in June or three cuts. I'm looking maybe two cuts, maybe one. So is that going to be horrible for SoFi? It's not going to be great in terms of the demand side, but SoFi can drive demand different ways with these partnerships, with these promotions, with these sports venues, with NBA deal, with all this stuff. And then don't forget, SoFi have been outperforming all expectations in a high rate environment for the last number of quarters. It has not hurt them. It drives deposit growth. It drives direct deposits. It's been driving financial services growth. It's been driving, it's not necessarily the high rates, but the tech growth. We have to see tech growth in the next couple of quarters. It would be very, very nice. I know we're probably not going to get a big announcement that they've closed this proof of concept, because I think the proof of concept is going to go on probably for several quarters. These things do not happen overnight, especially when we're talking about something very technical. It has to be played out, but it's just the key is, guys, like, you look at a stock like Hood, which is vastly inferior to SoFi, in my opinion, and is valued a lot higher. The reason is their institutional ownership is like 80%, and there's no short on the stock. It doesn't matter that the company doesn't make any money. They're extremely volatile. People say, oh, SoFi's volatile. The price action's volatile. The company's not volatile at all. Look at this thing, guys. Look at this year over year, and then compare this to Affirm, Upstart, any of these things. The key was the bank charter. SoFi has better management. They have a better, more diversified business model. They're moving in the right direction. They're de-risking. They were planning for this lack of rate cuts. Noto plans for the worst +1. It's like, take the worst case scenario you could imagine. Noto is planning for worse than that. Who is this guy? This guy is not only an Army Ranger, he was the top of his class in mechanical engineering at the United States Military Academy. He was an all-American football player. Do you know how rare it is to have this combination of this extreme intellect, this mind for numbers, this killer instinct of a star all-American linebacker, a guy who can become an Army Ranger and then be a CEO? Most of these CEOs are just lawyers and turds and finance guys. And, Anthony Noto is different. SoFi is different. SoFi is better. High interest rates are not going to kill this company. It is absolute FUD. SoFi will continue to excel. SoFi will make a profit this quarter and every quarter going forward. And as investors, again, the key is patience. I see people saying, I'm just so sick of SoFi. I've been holding it the last 2 years. It hasn't done anything. I'm going to get rid of it. And what are you going to do? What are you going to chase Palantir? You're going to chase Hood? You're going to chase Nvidia? Why would you sell a stock you think is extremely undervalued just because it hasn't popped yet because market makers are holding it down? They know what's going on. They're smarter than you. They know the stock is undervalued. They might not be saying it. They're saying the opposite to manipulate you because you're weak and stupid. Don't fall for it. Don't sell the dip and smell the rip. They want you to sell the dip and smell the rip, Uncle Primo. Don't do it. Alberto, mind your wrench. Beach Boy. Anybody else who's here, guys, welcome and hello. Hello and welcome. Steve in the mountains is here. Wyndham Robert Clark is the Danny Deals of golf. Oh, God. No, he looks way too slim and successful to be the Danny Deals of golf. Isn't Tiger in 14th place? Yeah, he's just one of the guys who's owning this sports league that SoFi named. Doesn't matter where he's ranked. Tiger Woods has so much name recognition. If SoFi had the name recognition of Tiger Woods, I guess SoFi just has to sleep with a bunch of hookers, crash his car. I don't know. It's all kinds of things. I'm a poor boy. I only have 160. It's a nice average, though, Dayroll. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with $1,000 worth of SoFi shares. Believe me. You're probably young. You're probably a young dude, so don't sweat it. So Alberto's here. Dayroll's here. Beach Boy's here. Thank you guys for joining me. Alberto, you're going to get that wrench. They're going to ride 750 line to the ER and memorize it. Yeah, they might push it up, but they'll push it right back down. They're definitely not going to let any of those options pay. Nala's got to run. He's got to get over and, get back to the big leagues. Tevis, Roy, he's not going to get Munson out in the middle of nowhere. The guy's just too fucking smart. But Roy represents a lot of brain power. I can just tell that. You start to listen to the guy. You start to study what he says. This guy knows exactly what he's talking about. Anyway, guys, it's un poco mas. It's the SoFi stock. I would like to thank J Money Not a Lurker for producing the show today. Would like to thank all of you very, very much for joining me. SoFi stock hasn't broken support. If the ER is what I think it is, we're going to be in business, guys. And I think institutional ownership is up in the 40s. We need it, as Dr. Bob would tell you, at least at 50. Is this going to be the quarter we get there? Probably not going to go up to 50, even on a great ER, but 2-3 more great ERs pushing into S&P 500 inclusion. Guys, I thought this was going to go up at net profit, but the market makers had another idea, and they're in charge. I'm not, so I'm just a lowly turd, and that's the way it is, guys. Thanks for joining me. Peace! We're out of here.